Hey everyone, it's K-Red, and welcome back to this week's Peaceful Pattern, where this week we're going back to a Zentangle original. It's called Well. Rick and Maria have done it again. Super easy, super fun. I know you'll enjoy it. As always, found the doodle on tanglepatterns.com. It gave us a link to a 2018 version that Martha Huggins walked us through. So let's get started. I think you're going to love it. So I went ahead, and because it is a grid pattern, I went ahead and already off camera gave myself the grid, and I gave myself a couple of squares. Of course, I didn't punch my hole for my peaceful patterns. If you're new, welcome. Each week we do a new peaceful pattern. We do them in these little squares so that as I doodle, I'm looking for a pattern. I can be reminded as these. They work as my personal prompts, my personal diary. It is awesome. So let's go ahead and we'll get right started. As you can see, there's only 2 circles that I have on here for my steps. And then we'll do a whole bunch of them down here so you can see what they look like as a grid, because that's the real joy of it. You guys won't believe how easy the first step is. All you have to do is draw a circle. Now, you're going to see these online and can doodle online a million ways. You're going to see it starting from a square or from a colored in circle or anything like that. But like I said, today we're doing Martha Huggins' version that I found posted and linked to from tanglepatterns.com. So she starts with a circle that's open. We're going to start with a circle that's open. And I went ahead and have already gotten step 2 started. So from here, we're going to make what I call a backward C. Some people call it a 9. It is totally up to you. For some reason, I always or almost always start at the bottom right. That is what's comfortable in my mind. I turn the card a little bit so that to me, they're kind of in line. I start tracing the circle and come down to a C. And it's just that simple. I'm going to give my future self the arrows to help me so that I know that is the direction that I'm coming down with my pen. I've done that one, so now I'm going to turn my card. Now I have these 2 in line. I'm going to start back where I did and come down and do another C. Turn my card, have them in line, retrace that circle, and make it the C. One more time so that all 4 corners are done. Well is just that easy. That's all there is to it. That is all we are going to do. So I sometimes get confused on making the lines. So I am on my card going to give myself the 4 arrows. It doesn't matter what order you do them in. It's just whatever feels comfortable on that day for that project. So let's go down here and do it. Let's see what they look like on a grid. In a grid, they take on a life to themselves. So what I usually like to do is step 1 all the way through. So I am going to do my best to have a generally the same size circle in generally the center. If this was a pattern I really cared about, if I was doing a super large project, you of course could measure that and give yourself that circle if you wanted to. But for my Peaceful Patterns card, I'm really happy with it, just like that. Then we're going to do that first C. So I'm going to line these up again. I'm going to start on the side of the circle, and I'm going to draw my C coming right to that point. Let's do it again. And one more time. And one more time. I turn my card each and every time. And that's how I get it. Now, Martha suggested that you may want to consider doing 1 line all the way across, and you don't have to turn your card quite as much. So now that I have this in line with that, I can start here and I can do my C. And then I can turn my card and I can do it again. And you're already starting to see how the pattern can develop. Let's do it again. Following that circle and making that backward C. I sometimes think of it as a 9. because to me it can look like a 9 as well. And look, I just did the 2. You can tell that it's not normal for me to do one. It is my habit and my pattern to do them all, so I do apologize. I did cheat on that one and do one out of turn. Whoops. There we go. So there's that one, and then now we're going to finish this off. And you can already see that you get these kind of the scroll type shape that quickly develops. So I'm going to do the bottom row the way I usually do it, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, rather than just all 1s, all 2s, all 3s, all 4s. And I'll probably fast forward through this a little bit just so you don't see me doing the repetition. I suggest when you do it that you take your time, you breathe through it, you do your best to make each stroke purposeful. That is something I struggle with. That is something I am working to perfect, is making each line and each stroke what I would like it to be, nice and slow. I control my breathing. I like to breathe in on the upstroke and out on the downstroke. So tell me, is this a new pattern for you? I'm going to guess for the vast majority it is not. It is a well-known pattern and one that many do, but it looks just like that. I think it is great. I think it is super cute. I'm almost tempted to try to add one more row, but I just don't think I have enough room. I think these look nice as a square, and this is almost squarish. So we're going to stick with this. But if you can imagine adding more and more rows, this is a great pattern. So what do you think? How should we shade them? I am going to reverse back to the expert, Martha. In the video I watched, she shaded on the side of her pencil, kind of like I do sometimes, underneath the swirl, underneath the C. Now, I will quickly get confused on what underneath the C is, so I have to do those one at a time. And then now I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to have a new underneath the C, so I can add some graphite there. And then I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to do underneath the C. Did you see how turning the card can make it so you really don't have to think? It really helps make it so that you're well aware of what you've done, of what needs to be done, and where you're at. Don't be afraid. It's one of the reasons I like small tiles sometimes rather than big ones. It makes them a little bit easier. And then what I'd like to do is, oh, that's not a very good point. Let's do this point. Is shade them. On the video, with Martha Huggins' video, she did not do a ton of blending. In fact, I don't think she did any blending. She left it with her nice, even graphites. But I really like blending. So I always like the way that looks better. I don't know. Obviously, hers was gorgeous. So I don't know if it's just because I don't always blend and put the graphite down well, or if it's just a personal preference of mine, but that is what I'm going to do on my card so I can have this prompt. It really accentuates that squirrel look to me. I like it. I'm going to add it down just on that bottom one because I like it to have that anchor. So what do you think? That is called Well. So it is a Zentangle original. And as always, I found it. I found it on Peaceful Patterns. I found it on tanglepatterns.com. Woo. It's been a hard, long day. I can't spell today. I apologize for that if anybody's looking at that for the first time. But it's Tangle Patterns. Google it. It'll pop right up. It's an amazing site. And that's that. If you're doing some grid work, highly recommend it. Highly recommend, if you are interested in some more variations, do an online search. You will find a lot. Here is a look at some of our most recent patterns. Please do me a favor. Click on one of these next two videos if you want to see another pattern. Check out my channel. Like and subscribe. I really appreciate all of you being here. I have a lot of fun learning with y'all. Thanks again, and we'll see you next week. Stay safe. Bye-bye.